future is after you graduate, and that's kind of what we're here to help you out with. Um, so we're going to talk a bit about what the future ready accountant is, how RPA kind of ties into all of this, and we'll give a bit of a short update on how the industry is going and what the future holds for yourselves as accounting graduates, future accounting graduates. So, a bit of by way of introduction, my name's Umar Chaudhry. I am the Director of Education Outreach here at RPA Canada. So, what my job is to coordinate with all of the various colleges and universities across Canada, um, setting up MOUs, making sure that the curriculums are all aligned with RPA, and doing things like this, getting the word out and letting accounting students throughout Canada know about RPA and what the advantages are and how they can get started. So that's my role. With me, I have Mr. Michael Saniga. He is the Director of Engagement and Learning Innovation. So he's the big guy who handles all the examinations, all the transcript assessments, and all of the setting of the education curriculum for RPA. And he also works to get those synchronized with all the various colleges and universities. So, Mike, feel free to introduce yourself here, and if I missed anything, please feel free to jump in.
You did a great job. Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks.
All right, awesome. All right, so just to get started, before I do, which many of you might have at this time, and what I wanted to kind of touch on, and I'll have Mike jump in here as well, as just to kind of make sure we cover everything, is what is an RPA? So RPA is the Registered Professional Accountant. So the organization we have is RPA Canada. So it's a national accounting body, self-regulated. It's been around since the 30s. So it's actually the oldest accounting body in Canada. Um, what RPAs specifically focus on is SMEs. So SMEs are small and medium-sized enterprises, businesses. Um, and there's a huge need for accountants that can service these businesses. If you look around you when you go outside and deal with the businesses that you deal with, um, a resoundingly large amount of those businesses are small and medium-sized businesses, and they need the accounting support that RPAs provide. So RPAs help them out with their bookkeeping, their taxation, their financial planning, and consulting. They'll help them out with estate planning and selling of the business and helping them out for the eventual exit. So what I like to say is from startup to exit, RPAs are kind of the right hand person for small medium sized businesses. So that's kind of our niche. A lot of our members you'll find are in practice on their own, so they have their own practice that they manage and run. And a lot of them are also in various industry positions, so controllerships, CFOs, managers of finance, directors of finance. So it's a huge range of opportunities available for RPAs, especially when you're kind of looking at options after you graduate from school and trying to think, what's the next pathway. RPA kind of jumps in and can kind of give you those added opportunities. The other big thing with RPAs is there's a great work-life balance. So, if whether you're working in an industry or whether you're in your own practice, you're able to kind of set your own hours, work as much as you want or as little as you need to. So that's kind of a huge push for RPAs, and a lot of our members have found that very, very beneficial and a huge plus with being an RPA and being in practice for yourself. And what we do is we do push very hard on the practical side of accounting. So we're not harping too much on the theory, or we're not if you deal with small and medium-sized businesses, it's not too much of amortizations of bonds, but we're trying to get into a lot of the nitty-gritty, and we have a lot of professional development courses available, whether it's from tax planning, practice management, upskilling on the various softwares that we use. So we do really push on the practical side of accounting. So that's kind of how we found is, when you go to college or university, you're learning a lot of the theory and getting that basic knowledge set. But after you finish, you want to learn how to kind of get in and do the work. So that's kind of the what RPA is and kind of what we stand for and what we're trying to get out there. Mike, if there's anything that you wanted to touch up on as well.
Uh, well, I think one of the big things is the flexibility in our study pathways. So in terms of certification and accreditation, students are able to complete their course requirements through full-time programs, part-time programs, continuing education programs. So it gives you a lot more flexibility in completing the program. I know you're going to be talking about speed to market or speed to earning money, so I don't want to steal your thunder on that.
Yeah, for sure. I think the main thing that RPA is what the goal here is RPA and what the core values is. We want to make sure that accounting services, professional accounting services, are accessible to everyone, and that we advocate accounting. We want to make sure that everyone understands their responsibilities and what they have to do. And the last thing we want to do is build barriers for students and prospective members to get out there and get in the market and move forward. So we'll touch a bit about that as well, but that's kind of the broad strokes of what RPA is and what the positioning of RPA is in the market right now. So I know the big thing that's kind of coming up, and I'm sure this is the burning question at the top of everyone's mind right now, is what's happening with accounting and the new technologies that are emerging, AI, advanced analytics, um, and needless to say, it is a huge change. Um, we can't put it any simpler. There's the way that accounting has been done for the last 30 years is not how it's going to be done now. um, Data entry is going to be pretty much out the door. It's going to be shifting more to data analysis. Strategic advisory is going to be a very important aspect, and this is again something that RPA is pushing very heavily within our members for continuing professional development. And you can't avoid the technology. At the end of the day, if you look at the changes that are happening and how rapidly they're happening, simply put, AI is here to stay. It's going to be a matter of how we use it in our careers, to kind of better service our customers or clients or our employers. Um, so with the way that the analogy that I've kind of looked at and I've used to explain to a lot of the students and a lot of the people I speak to who are looking at RPA and have that burning question about, is AI gonna take care of us, is I like to use the example of the ATM machine. So way back when, I'm assuming the 70s or 80s, before the internet, before everything, the way that you would interact with your bank was you would physically walk to the bank, speak to someone at the bank, speak to a teller, and transact your business that way. So what had happened was the ATM came along, and that kind of created a bit of a fear, similar to what we're seeing now with regards to jobs. And um, there was an idea that there's not going to be any more bank teller jobs, and everything's going to go out the door. And what we actually noticed, or you'll see, is it actually had the opposite effect. So what the ATM ended up doing was relieving a lot of the boring or monotonous work that can be done by an ATM machine, and it had kind of opened up more opportunities for tellers. So they became salespeople. They did a lot more customer service and were able to handle some of the more complex transactions more easily. So what ended up happening, instead of having job losses across the board, it actually created more bank tellers. So um, the job changed, the role changed, but at the end of the day, we still have bank tellers even today. What they did 50 years ago is probably not what they do today. But at the end of the day, it's better work, it's more valuable work, and it's a value add for everyone involved. So that's kind of how we're looking at AI. It's not going to eliminate accountants by any means. What it's going to do is shift things more towards an advisory level. Um, Maybe just helping you analyze the data and presenting it in a more clear pathway. So that's kind of how we're looking at it, and this is RPA's commitment of adapting AI and kind of pushing more on that side. Micah, did you have any thoughts on kind of how AI is coming in and what you're hearing on
Uh,
your side?
yeah, I'm hearing similar type things. I think the the reality is this is a speeding train and you need to get on board or get run over. And I think there's a lot of industries that are like this. I think the unique opportunity we have for the accounting profession is that we can use this as a tool to enhance the value of what accountants do. For over a decade, for decades, a lot of the automated sort of mundane entries and mundane tasks were often offshored to to lower cost countries, and AI is replacing a lot of that. That stuff is all automated, and I think what we have an opportunity to do is use this from an analytical perspective to help our clients or our employers make better decisions. So I think this presents a really cool opportunity to get out of just reporting on numbers to actually analyzing them and making real life decisions based on those numbers.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is something that for the students in this session to kind of be mindful of is once you graduate and you go into the job market, you're gonna want to find a way to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. And the way that you really do that is showing them that you understand where the future of accounting is going, and you're able to kind of show that you're ready and you can help the business move towards that direction. So how do you do that? You can demonstrate that you understand AI and you've used AI in all the different kind of ways that you can use that in the accounting profession. And this is something that RPA is uniquely positioned to with kind of the new mandate of creating future ready accountants and having them ready for what the future holds. That's kind of the position you're taking. So we've had a couple meetings with a lot of the recruiters out there, and they're looking for more RPAs. And the reason for that is they understand that RPAs specifically and uniquely have that touch. So they're practical accountants. They can jump into the job right away. And then there's also the added CPD. So the continuing professional development is something that's very important in your profession, in your career. And RPA has a very strong CPD program. So the upskilling is super important, and it's something that's going to be with you for as long as you're an accountant. And RPA is there to provide that support to all members. So yeah, this is basically what we're talking about. So how do you stand out from the crowd? And the simple answer here is to get future ready. Um, the theory is going to be there. Everyone knows the theory. When you're going out there in the market, um, you're kind of on a level playing field. Um, Once you become an RPA member, once you can kind of have those letters next to your name, you immediately separate yourself from the crowd. So um, you're not just a accounting graduate, you're an RPA as well. You have a very distinct specialization in the small medium sized market. That's essentially the backbone of the Canadian economy. If you look at the actual numbers, about 98% of businesses are small businesses, small medium sized businesses. So there's a huge market, a huge potential, earning potential. by specializing in this market. And then there's at the end of the day, it's how fast can you do this? We all want to kind of uh, especially if you're in your last year of school, we want to kind of get things going. We want to get our careers going. The cost of living isn't getting any better, and any kind of delays in your progression with your career, your salary, it's something that you want to always be mindful of. And this is kind of the way that you're able to fast track your career. You're not going to lose quality of your training. You're not going to lose the quality of the work that you do. It's something that's going to help you guys just stick out and demonstrate your value very fast once you graduate. Um, when it comes down to, I remember when I graduated, and I did the CPA route. It was about 3 years until I actually was able to get my letters. And in those 3 years, you're not making CPA money. They know you're not yet a CPA. You have to go through the extra courses, the exams, experience reports, and all that fun stuff. And that's all time that's kind of holding you back from truly kind of jumping in all in and advancing in your career. So it's a huge thing that you want to be mindful of especially once you graduate and you're trying to figure out what the next step is. So, what's the pathway to becoming an RPA? So, um, right now we're going to talk a bit more about kind of the college university pathway because I think that's what most of you are in. We have many different pathways. We do have, if you're foreign designated or an experienced accountant. So a lot of different pathways, which if you want to learn more about, if you think it might be more relevant to you, you can reach out to RPA, and we can kind of walk you through what pathway might be the best for you. But as far as the college university pathway, um, to put it as simple as possible, it's 4 quick steps. So first thing you want to do is graduate, get your diploma, get your degree. So once you have that, you're pretty much, I'd say, 80% of the way there. What you're going to want to do next is do a transcript assessment, figure out what courses you're missing. There's always going to be a few gaps between your college education and RPA's required courses. The main ones is going to be the data analytics and AI course that we offer, which is mandatory. This is a course that's updated continuously throughout the year. So, and this is part of what RPA's commitment is. So we want to make sure that everyone is as up to date as possible on the emerging tech trends. And then you'll also have to take an ethics course. So the ethics course is specific to RPA. RPA has its own specific code of ethics and code of conduct. So we teach a course that's specific to that you'll have to take. And then there will be one or two other courses that you're short on. So you'll definitely want to reach out to RPA, do an assessment. We'll walk you through whatever is left. And what we usually found is usually two to three at most that your shortfall. You can do it through RPA. We have our own RPA learning platform where you can take these courses on a self-study basis, or you can take it at your local college or university. Once you have all of your prerequisite courses, you will then be invited to sit for the MPE, so the mandatory professional exam. So this is a kind of a extensive set of 4 exams. So it's held twice a year. So in I want to say May and November. So we actually just had our final exam written over the weekend. So it's held 4 Saturdays in the month, 2 to 3 hours long, and it covers 4 basic topics. So financial accounting, management accounting, taxation, and data analytics. So once you write those 4 exams, uh, once you register, you do get access to the learning materials. You're kind of in a study forum community where you can kind of ask questions. There's facilitators there to answer any questions or clarify things that you need while you're studying. So it's self-guided, but you are getting help there. You're not kind of on your own. You can kind of connect with other people writing and create study groups or however you want to do. Um, so you can write those exams. We give you the results a few weeks after. Once you pass, you are essentially invited to apply for RPA. So there's some experience requirements you do need to have and meet. It's not too stringent. It's about 1 year of relevant experience. For anyone who's doing co-op, you're able to get that validated as well. So some of you may already be well on your way there or halfway there, depending on the type of co-ops you've done and the work experience you do have. And then finally, you're invited to become an RPA, and you have your letters. So what we want to really remind everyone is um, how soon you can get those letters on your name. And what we say is it's as soon as 1 year post grad. So as soon as you graduate, um, as soon as you have all of your courses and exams and experience, within 1 year you can have your designation. You'll have your certificate as well, and you're already on your way to kind of all you have to kind of do from that point on is maintain your CPD requirements on an annual basis, and you can continue and progress in your career. A lot of our members, as I've mentioned, are practitioners, so they have their own accounting practice or firms that they have as well, and that's something that you are able to set up as well. It's a bit of an extra process there, so you do have to do some additional courses on practice management and being ready to handle a practice. So we call that the PPC pathway. And once you complete that, you'll be able to get your certificate of practice. So we call that CAP. And that allows you to have your own practice. You're able to prepare financial statements under the new compilation standards, CSRS 4200. And then you're kind of well on your way to be your own boss. So that's something that we found a lot of our members, they've taken that pathway and they found great success in there. We have some members that are they're buying up CPA practices. There's a lot of accountants that are retiring right now. Um, and instead of just kind of shutting down, they're selling their practices. And it's a good opportunity to kind of enter the market and kind of take over from a retiring accountant and kind of take their practice to the next level. So that's a very exciting opportunity that's available for our members as well, and something that I think you would definitely want to consider. So again, I want to talk a bit about the AI advantage. So again, this is something that has come out very recently. There was communication that was sent out all across social media and the news. So there has been a very deliberate commitment to RPA. What they're calling it is building the future ready accountant. And what the future ready accountant means is the accountant for the future. So what we've looked at, and there's been various discussions with academics and leaders in the tech industry and AI. And we've basically put together kind of a game plan on how to make sure that RPAs don't fall behind when it comes to the changes that are happening. So a couple things that we've set up. So first thing, we have a future ready community that's going to be coming out in the near future. So this is kind of a hub for all things AI and tech that RPAs can kind of uh, join and discuss and talk about what's working, what's not, what's new, what issues they found and how they've resolved those. So the idea is, we're all kind of in this together, and we're all kind of going to be learning this together, and getting our careers and our practices to that next level. So that's what the whole point of the community, and that's something that's going to be set up. The other thing is of a bunch of partnerships that the RPA has made with leaders in the AI space. So Microsoft has Copilot, that is a very powerful tool that's being implemented on all their Office products. Um, so we have specific training on that in conjunction with a consulting firm called Vox ISM. So these guys are the leaders in Canada on AI adoption for businesses. And that's kind of who we've chosen as our preferred partners for training, upskilling, getting the news out of any of the major updates. We're kind of at that point now where it seems every other week there's a huge breakthrough in what AI can do and what advancements are there. And so the only way to really be on top of that is by getting the news from the people that it's their job to know these things. So a lot of partnerships that we have in place and a lot more partnerships in the pipeline that are going to be coming in. So that's a huge thing. And we've made tech a mandatory part of our continuing professional development requirements. So um, every year as a professional accountant, you do have requirements of doing some continuing professional development courses. Those are offered by RPA, so you can kind of reach out for RPA. And what we've done is we've actually mandated that a certain amount of hours has to be dedicated to something in the tech space, emerging tech, AI, whatever it might be. So um, the idea is not just for you, but for um, people outside of the accounting profession. The goal is essentially when they think of RPA, they think of AI and tech, and they want to look at RPAs as the future accountants, the tech accountants. Um, so that's kind of the recognition that RPA is moving towards, and we're already there. We're well ahead of all of the other professional bodies, and we're going to keep going that way. So again, the opportunities are endless there. And it's something that's going to really help you differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. So when you're graduating from school and you're kind of looking in there and figuring out how you're going to differentiate yourself, this is the way. Been talking quite a bit. Mike, I don't know if you got any questions or anything on your side that you wanted to touch on yet.
No, I think this is great. And, maybe I haven't seen anything come into the chat. I don't know if there are any questions here. I think the one thing that I would really just like to underline here is the fact that, um, I know there are a lot of different pathways to getting into accounting. Um, but this is certainly this opportunity, and I've got both CPA and RPA. This is certainly a faster pathway for students to, get into industry and start making money today, right? So the Sioux College, Barb and team have done a fantastic job of setting up a program for you to maximize the number of courses you can get. The gaps can either be taken through RPA Canada directly or through Ontario Learn. There's a couple courses that, if you've decided you're moving from business general to business accounting, you can fill in those gaps pretty quickly, either through RPA Canada or, like I said, or through Ontario Learn. We've had students graduate in April and write in June because there's some review programs that they need. But if you've got all your courses, it's a very efficient process. So, and we've got it 2 times a year. So even if June isn't the right time for you, you can write in November. So, and this is what we're hearing from students. They don't want to go to school for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. If you do your program, at a lot of different community colleges, CPA has a lot of restrictions on what qualifies for their programs versus prep. And so, I think it's that speed to market is a big thing. There are some questions coming in. So if somebody is operating an accounting firm for the last 3 years, what's the pathway for them to become an RPA? So I guess the question there is, the question is, what's your educational background? Because we still have to make sure that there are certain prerequisites that are met. But that could certainly qualify as your experience requirements as long as it's verifiable.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely so that there is pathways for experienced accountants or experienced practitioners. So it's definitely something worth reaching out to the office and discussing. So we do have a very kind of stringent, application process for those, just to make sure that it's we're getting experienced professionals who just never end up getting their designations. So yeah, it's definitely something worth reaching out to the office and figuring out what the next steps are.
yeah. Cool. There's another question here, and maybe we could talk about it because it's a good one. So as a bookkeeper, can I run my own business right out of school at a graduating? Did you want to take that
So
or yeah?
yeah, so a couple of things there. So I mean, if we're talking about bookkeeping, and I can say this honestly, anyone can be a bookkeeper. You don't necessarily have to have an accounting degree. You can just open up and start managing books if you had some experience. Now, the question is, if we're talking about that way, you want to talk about when you're in the market as a bookkeeper, how are you going to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd? Are you just going to be doing bookkeeping? Are you able to help them out with preparing their taxes? Um, are you able to also do tax planning and walk them through some of the tax planning opportunities that are available to you? Um, and then on top of that, how about the rest of their business? Are you able to advise them on how to grow the business, how to scale, what their succession plans are, how are they going to exit? So there's a lot of different things that are outside in accounting. So when we're talking about bookkeeping, yeah, sure. If you want to start your own bookkeeping shop, by all means, you can do that. Um, what I've seen, and as myself, I'm a public accountant as well. Um, there's thousands of bookkeepers. How are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to be able to kind of demonstrate that premium? And then also, if we talk about bookkeepers, we're talking about a lot of data entry. And when we're looking at the future ready accountant and where the industry is going, chances are bookkeeping is going to be a very minimal part of accounting down the line. A lot of the data that we're getting is going to be straight from the sources, easily kind of sortable and digestible. So you want to kind of think, is just being a bookkeeper really something that's valuable now and down the road? Um, so that's kind of how I would look at it. A lot of our RPA members who have their own practices, they do a ton of bookkeeping. But what we're seeing is they're kind of shifting more towards the management accounting analysis advisory side. And that's where the real fees are. If you can explain to your client how you're going to save them hundreds of thousands of dollars on tax planning, or get them financing that they need from the bank to kind of elevate or expand their operations, that's where you're going to be able to really separate yourself. And how does that happen? Is if you're an RPA and you're able to issue financial statements that you can then share to the bank. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at financing and how businesses get financing, um, almost every time they need to present a set of financial statements to the bank. And it's not just any set of financials, it has to be uh, under a specific report. We call those a compilation engagement report. And there's specific accounting standards issued by the accounting bodies on what that is and how those are to be prepared. And those are what the banks are going to accept. So that's where your value gets added. That's where you can say, hey, I'm a professional accountant. I'm licensed. I'm certified. I'm able to issue these statements because I'm an RPA and we're a self-regulated body, and there's specific requirements to maintain that. And we have practice inspection and have to follow a set of code of ethics and professional codes of conduct. Um, so yeah, I guess I hope that kind of answers the question, but um, yeah, that's kind of how I would answer that.
Yeah.
Mike, did I
Yeah,
miss
I
anything
think
on that?
that's yeah, I no, I think that's great. I think that and you alluded to the compilation engagements. I think given how fast business is moving and how fast technology is moving, I think what industry and certainly government and regulators are doing is they are becoming increasingly stringent on who can do what. And I think that if you look at 4200, the CSRS 4200, the compilation engagement standards, they're very restrictive. It's really, so if you look at here, it's CPAs and RPAs who can do compilation engagements. Bookkeepers are not able to do that. So as you are looking to the future, are standards going to become more stringent or less stringent? And to Umar's point, just on top of that, the fact that a lot of what bookkeepers do today, uh, as valuable as their services are, a lot of what they're going to be doing in the future is going to be eliminated by technology and AI. So you want to sort of prepare yourself, right? It's similar to, and I tell a lot of my students this, if you look at, career planning, you kind of say, what kind of job do I want in 10 years? And start planning backwards. Some of these jobs that you want in 10 years require different certifications or different levels of education. If you don't start thinking about that now, in 10 years, you're going to have to start planning, doing those courses then. So similar, if you look at where the accounting role is going to be 10 years from now, you want to start making those steps, taking those steps to prepare yourself for that. I know Umar mentioned the ATM. I always think about the computer, the personal computer, or the calculator even, right? These are tools that people can leverage in their jobs. Excel, spreadsheets haven't been around forever. It feels like they've been around forever, but there were a lot of people who were resistant to utilizing Excel, saying, "Oh, I'd rather just use, pen and paper and handwrite things and use a calculator and make my own calculations." But what you find is that those people get left behind. They end up getting kind of, unfortunately pushed out of the industry because they didn't adapt. This is a lesson for all of business. We have to learn to adapt, whether it be in, I spend a number of years in marketing, and, when I was in marketing, social media was not as prevalent as it is today. So you've got to learn and adapt and change your approach to strategy. So, this is no different. And I think that, if you're preparing yourself, and again, the title of this presentation is about being future ready. Being future ready is anticipating what the future of work will be. And the nice thing is you're not going on this alone. You've got great instructors and great professors, great coaches. You've got great institutions like RPA who will help guide you through that.
Yep, 100%. So yeah, like I said, and what Mike kind of put pretty eloquently is think of where you're going to be in 10 years and kind of reverse engineer that process and see if what your plans are, if they work, and if what your current kind of strategy kind of fits in with where you want to be. Um, that's kind of how I would look at it, and I would kind of pursue it. Um, Another question, because I see a bunch of questions coming in about the timeline and everything. So we talked, like I said, you can kind of, once you graduate, if you have everything ready, you could very well be writing by May, sorry, or by June. And keep in mind, you don't have to wait until you graduate to get the process started. So um, we'll talk about a bit about kind of what the next steps are. Um, you guys are able to all apply for student membership now. So you can get access to the resources, get your transcripts in, just kind of see, hey, where am I falling short of? What do I need? What's my shortfall there? And if it comes down to, hey, you just need to get your ethics and your data analytics, and if you have the capacity, you're more than welcome to start taking those through RPA Learning or Ontario Learn now if you're able to handle it. They're not these are very intuitive courses and programs. They're not meant to kind of bog you down, or we just want to make sure that you guys are all understanding the basics of those courses. So yeah, you can enroll in those final courses, get those done, and get that out of the way and start preparing for the exam. Uh, it's a fast track. It's it's a lengthy exam. It's 4 exams, but we're not making these impossible. These are kind of, we're giving you all of the resources. We're walking you through, helping you out. And it's something that, at the end, you do feel like you've definitely accomplished or learned something. And it's, uh we look at it as a bit of a rite of passage, and something you'll kind of be able to talk about with other RPAs of how your experience with the MPE was, what topics you guys got covered. Similar to what CPAs do. They have the same kind of uh shared experience of what the study process was like, what the exam was, how the stress was, and it's something that you can kind of be proud of down the line and say, hey, I kind of put my head together and really sat down and studied for these and was able to kind of accomplish something that not many are able to do. So that's kind of the next steps for you guys. Have any questions, please feel free to email the office, info@rpacanada.org. You can also, we'll add, Mike will go ahead, he'll probably add his to the chat as well, and I can add mine as well. Our goal is to make sure that all of the accounting students that are here are set up to succeed down the line. So if there's anything that you're not too sure of, if you don't know if RPA is right for you, if you want to kind of just see how long and kind of work out a timeline for yourself on how long it'll take you to become an RPA and get going. That's what we're here for. We have people dedicated 24/7 to kind of walk people through this and help them through that process and just navigate those little intricacies. So by all means, please feel free to reach out to the office, check out our website, follow us on social media. We're very active on LinkedIn, and Facebook and Instagram. So please follow us. And again, you can message us on social media as well. Um, we understand, we're kind of mindful that, it's a stressful time when you're kind of finishing up school and trying to figure out what the future holds. And if there's any way that we can help, that's what we're here for. All right. So with that being
that roughly 88% of CPAs do not have a licensed, they are not licensed to practice public accounting. So I'm a CPA, I do not have a license to practice public accounting. Umar is a CPA and does have the license to practice public accounting. So it's all dependent upon what you plan on doing. I've primarily worked in industry through my career. And so I didn't need the license. I don't need that license. So I didn't apply for it. CPA has the benefit of this broad recognition, right? Broad recognition. We're kind of the new kids on the block, but I think that as awareness builds, I think you're going to see similar type recognition of RPA. If you look at the days of old when CGA was around, very well respected brand, very well respected profession, and that's where we believe RPA will play, that small to mid-sized business, good in driving research. So we do have a number of academics, accounting academics. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, certainly that's another part of this.
Yep, absolutely.
Did you have other things to add there, Umar?
No, I think you kind of touched on. So that's, if we're talking about 3 different kind of pathways you want to take, so it's basically, being a bookkeeper, being an RPA, and then being a CPA. So you want to kind of look at all 3 of those options and kind of see where you'll best fit. If you're interested in going into assurance and doing public audits and getting that licensure, which is over and above just getting a CPA, it's something that you'll want to consider. But I think, when it comes down to, again, just the agility of getting an RPA and just the positioning that we have with kind of the tech forward education and continuing education, as well as servicing small, medium-sized businesses, which is the core of kind of Canadian business. I mean, I'm definitely a little biased, but I think the answer is simple. It's RPA is kind of the way to go. But again, it's something that you have to kind of decide and look at the alternatives and see
Yep.
where your career purposes.
Yeah.
Was there any other questions that came up?
There was a question on whether some of our networking events are virtual. They're kind of everywhere. We have I think a lot of it has to do um, with membership in that area and the activity of the membership in those areas. However, we do have virtual sessions as well. So a lot of our sessions, because of just sheer population, is in the GTA and the number of our members in the GTA. But that doesn't mean that other events can't happen. It actually presents an interesting, similar to Sioux College. Sioux College has taken the bull by the horns, so to speak, and has done a phenomenal job of making students aware of the RPA designation. And I think there are similar leadership opportunities when you become a member. A number of our members are on committees. A number of our members are on the board of directors. And if you're looking at, again, you're preparing for future opportunities, taking leadership positions always looks great. In addition to a designation. So, I think that's one thing that would love to emphasize here. One last thing to emphasize is the interest in the institution in having your input and participation in driving the future the future profession.
Yep.
Does RPA have courses to upgrade so a bookkeeper could advise clients? Well, we certainly have our own suite of courses. You could certainly look on, and we do have a number of bookkeepers. Actually, we do have a number of bookkeepers who are looking to upgrade their skills to or upgrade to become an RPA. So they do take a number of courses. If you go to rpalearning.ca, we could probably put that.
Yeah.
RPA. Is it learning.ca or .com? .ca, I think.
E-learning.ca.
I'll put that into the chat. We actually have a really good course coming up. If you, it sounds like one or a few of you have a certain level of experience. We actually have an in-depth management accounting program. So if you're looking at advising clients, this program could be for you. It's an immersive, in-depth management accounting course. Essentially, it's going to be taking on strategic cost analysis and strategic business analysis. So you'd be working with professionals from across the country. It's a 7-day, 60-hour course. That's how in-depth it is. It's actually, there's an opportunity through this to leverage this program into a Australia, New Zealand CMA designation. A great opportunity to continue to broaden your educational skill set.
Yeah, the main thing is there's when you're a professional, it's a lifelong learning commitment, right? So RPA's goal is to kind of help you through that and not kind of leave you guys high and dry. It's to make sure that everyone is kind of learning at the same time. I know we're kind of running close to our 1 hour mark. Again, I just do want to remind everyone, first of all, please do sign up for the tablet contest. Again, it's a very, very high likelihood that if you do sign up, you might win. So please take advantage of that. And I do want to also bring attention again to the RPA student. If you have any additional questions, please do email info@rpacanada.org. I will also put in my email as well if you have any questions with regards to. No, I guess I can't do that, but we'll get that shared out. So mine is education@rpacanada.org. Mike's is engagement@rpacanada.org. We'll get someone to throw that in the chat. And again, please reach out to us. Reach out to your school ambassador. So Barb has been working with us very extensively at SUE, and if anyone is attending any other college, we probably do have an ambassador. We also do have Audrey at SUE, who's been a great help. So if you have any questions, you can send those to Audrey, and she can kind of delegate those to us as she feels. So with that being said, thank you everyone for coming. Please again follow us on social media. We'll be announcing the winner tomorrow, and you might just be a owner of a brand new tablet. So thanks a lot, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.